back with another Vlogmas video, and today I am spotlighting one of my all-time favorite authors, and that is Leonard Pitts Jr. Okay, Leonard Pitts Jr., how did I find him? Well, I actually found his book, which is actually one of my favorite of his books, which is The Last Thing You Surrender. And I actually saw this book on one of the proposals from Amazon. So I think, bought some books the week before, and then Amazon was proposing me books. If you read this and you might like this kind of thing. And I looked through the books, and this one caught my eye because of the cover and then the name. So the name, I was like, this name is familiar. Where do I know this name from? Yes, Leonard Pitts Jr. is a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, had his own column. Now he is retired. And this is one of the first books that I picked up by him. So I purchased the book, and I didn't really pick it up until the year after. So we read this one for the Read So Lit Read Along in February that I do every year, which is like an open read along. And I proposed this book. My goodness, when I started reading this book, the opening is so fucking fantastic. If you have not read this book, you really need to pick it up. It does involve World War II, but I think World War II is a good subject matter that we don't often talk about relating to Black Americans. It's really like put on the side burner, I think. So it's really good to read this book because it kind of gets us into the period, what people were going through. How was World War II for Black Americans and white Americans? So I feel like without reading the back of the cover, the best way to talk about this book is, I would say this is a historical page turner. Talks about race and talks about war relating to World War II. It has three main characters. It has a white American man who is a soldier, which we see in the beginning of the book. He is on a ship during Pearl Harbor. Then we have the Black woman is one of the main characters, and her brother is the main character. So we'll see the effects of living in the U.S. in the 40s and even subsequently going to World War II to fight in the war, what that has an effect on the brother. And we see also how it has an effect on his sister being alone and having to, sort of be the focal point and the person who, is the breadwinner and does everything. I tell you, this book had me clutching my pearls, snatching my edges, and all the rest. It was just a lot, but boy, was it a memorable read. Now, it is not short. This is a 507-page book, but I guarantee you, 507-page book that you should have read a long time ago, because this book right here, so very good. Highly recommend it from Leonard Pitts Jr. Get this book. Okay, the next book we read, and we read this one. This was one of the first books we read in my online book club, Read So Lit, and that's Freeman. And this is a post-Civil War book, which follows a Black man who was lucky enough to run away. He was a slave, and he managed to escape and get away and go up north and make his life there. And then after he gets himself settled, he gets in his mind, I need to go back and get my woman, my wife. So what does he do? He packs a bag, leaves his job, and starts the journey on foot back down south, where at any moment, if he's captured, he could possibly be, kind of dragged back into slavery. And he goes back down to find his wife. And so we follow that main character and the adventures and experiences he has looking for his wife down south on foot. Whew, this one had me clutching my pearls, and I was just, oh my God. I mean, Really, really good book. This is another one. It's lengthy, not as lengthy as the other one. This one is 404 pages. So it's like 100 pages less, but a so very good read, a powerful read. And he discusses this post-Civil War era very, very well. Highly recommend this one. Okay, the next book I have on this list is Grant Park. And this is one that we read this year in the book club online that I have Read So Lit. And we read this one for February for Black History Month. This book, I didn't know what to expect really, but this book has a little dash of Leonard in because the main character is a journalist who writes incendiary article, and it gets him pretty much fired. And so he decides to go and print it anyway through his newspaper. And then a bunch of other things happen after. So this is a book that talks about journalism and how people, when they read these articles, what they think and how they react, and also the racism and how its stupidity is really just that. And he has created some really interesting characters in here, while at the same time there are real life characters in this book. Martin Luther King is in this book, and what he does is through humor and through very interesting variation of Motley Crue kind of characters, Leonard Pitts Jr. really is, you know, bringing out the worst in the worst that we see in America. And he does it really, really early on, because this book is from 2015, but the overall theme of the book is prevalent today. But he just does it so well through the dialogues, through the various different people. So you have like a journalist, a white journalist, who's the boss of the Black journalist. You have some of the people that he works with. You have also two white racist characters in the book as well. And you'll see that there's this humor that sets in. And through the humor, Leonard Pitts Jr. is talking to his audience and saying so much. I highly recommend this one as well. Very, very good read. This one also is a much shorter book than The Last Thing You Surrender or than Freeman. This one is 380, I think it is. It comes in at 380 pages, so it's a bit shorter than even Freeman, but highly recommend this. Last but not least, this is the last fiction novel by him, which is called Before I Forget. And this one is following the character. It's a Black man who is losing his memory, I think is what it is. So this one, I think is going to be an interesting kind of journey. And that is, I find interesting is with his writing is the main characters are usually Black men. And I don't feel like a lot of us are reading enough books that are written by Black men with Black men as the main characters. And I think Leonard Pitts Jr. is the perfect way of doing that. So I'll be interested to see how this one goes. This will be my last one, so I'm kind of sad. But I did hear that Leonard Pitts Jr. will be writing a second part to The Last Thing You Surrender, which I'm like, oh, Jesus, thank God. I kind of want to hear what's going to happen with these characters in a second book. And so he is currently working on that second book. So we're going to get a second book, guys, which I think is fantastic. But as a whole, I can tell you this is probably the most underrated authors out there for me at the moment. Like, he's like been around. Like, he's written other books besides these. The other books are, I think they're more nonfiction books. But these books seem to not be on anybody's radar. And I'm not really sure why. because it's true. Leonard Pitts Jr. is an award-winning Pulitzer Prize journalist. So you would think, well, his books would be top, up there. But there's still a lot of people that don't know about him. And I hope that in seeing this video, that you will be encouraged to read his books, because I promise you, with these, you will not be disappointed. All three of them are fantastic books. You can't go wrong with these. Comment below. Let me know, have you read Leonard Pitts Jr.? Are you gonna read him? Let's talk about it. But do you agree with me that he's probably one of the most underrated authors at the moment that people should be reading? So that's it. Let's talk, because this is something I've been wanting to talk about for a while. And I hope that these are on your radar. And if they're not, if they weren't, I hope they're on your radar now. Bye.